When life feels too heavy and your problems weigh you down, come here. This is Ondoria, a place to rest your mind, breathe deeply, and drift into a relaxing fantasy story. Each tale is an escape, but also a gentle return to wisdom and calm. Let go. Listen. Your journey begins now. Beyond the edge of the known world lies a forest whispered about in dreams, a place where the path fades beneath wandering feet, and the only compass is your courage. They say those who enter Ondoria's heart never return the same, and this is where your story begins. In the mist-cloaked lands of Ondoria, where time slowed beneath towering ancient trees, there lived a quiet traveler named Akira. Akira's heart ached with a restless longing, not just for a place, but for something that could heal a deeper wound, a truth whispered in forgotten tales, a purpose wrapped in silence, a peace that might quiet the storm raging inside him. The sacred mountain, spoken of in those old stories, was said to hold a light that could pierce even the darkest shadows, a promise of clarity and renewal, the kind of hope Akira needed to find himself again. Yet between him and that mountain stretched the whispering forest, a realm both feared and revered by many. The villagers spoke of it only in hushed voices, warning that the trees shifted when no one looked, that soft voices echoed in the dark, tempting travelers away from the path. Some who entered returned with quiet, empty eyes, and others never returned at all. Still, one missed, heavy mourning, with resolve nesting deep in his chest, and questions tangled like roots in his soul. Akira took a steadying breath and stepped toward the forest's edge. The air grew thick with pine and fog, and from the swirling mist emerged an old guide. His robe was woven from bark thread and faded leaves, his presence older than the oldest tree, as if he had walked Ondoria's secret paths for centuries. Akira's breath caught, not with fear, but with a sudden weight pressing on his chest. In that silent moment, he felt his doubts and hopes collide. The question of whether he was ready to face what lay ahead. The guide did not block his way, but his steady eyes met Akira's, quiet, deep, knowing, as if seeing the turmoil inside him. Then the guide spoke, voice low and sure like the whispering wind. You cannot rise by avoiding the dark. What you seek does not lie beyond the forest, but because of it. Go forward, not to escape the storm, but to become the one who walks through it. The words settled into Akira's bones. For a long heartbeat he stood still, feeling the forest breathe around him. Alive, patient, demanding. Then, with a quiet certainty growing inside, he stepped into the parting trees, knowing that this path, with all its danger and darkness, was the only way forward. The forest closed behind him like a secret. At first it welcomed him with gentle whispers, soft shafts of sunlight filtering through emerald leaves, the sweet scent of wildflowers and pine heavy in the air. Birdsong wove through the branches like a quiet lullaby, and a cool breeze carried the distant murmur of a hidden stream. For a moment, Akira felt the forest's calm embrace, as if it were alive and watching, a place of ancient beauty and timeless peace. But soon, the light dimmed to an emerald twilight. The air thickened with moss and damp earth. Time itself seemed to slow, bending beneath ancient boughs. His cautious steps pressed deeper into the forest floor, boots sinking softly into fallen leaves, roots stretched out like grasping fingers, clawing at his ankles. A cold rain began to drip from the canopy, slow, relentless, soaking through his cloak, chilling him to the bone. The path vanished beneath twisting undergrowth. Still, he pressed on. Suddenly, his foot slipped on wet stone, and he tumbled into a creek, the water biting like ice, numbing his limbs and stealing his breath. Shivering, he hauled himself to the bank, heart pounding, not just from cold, but from rising doubt. Days blurred with moments like these, a flicker of strange light caught between branches, leading him on a chase, only to find himself circling the same gnarled tree again. At night, strange cries echoed, not the sounds of beasts, but something older, darker, shadows stretched impossibly long, and in the stillness, a voice rose inside him. "You should turn back. You are not strong enough. This forest will swallow you whole." Akira faltered. He almost listened, but each time the shadow of fear grew. He wrapped himself in the guide's words like a cloak and took one more step forward. As days passed, the forest began to change, not around him but within him. He slowed his pace, letting his senses open beyond fear. He listened, not just with ears, but with his whole being. The whisper of wind warned him of shifting weather. The curve of moss on ancient trunks revealed the path where light would rise. He found still pools of water, so clear they mirrored the sky, and trees that seemed to hum softly, like old friends welcoming him. He learned to sit with his fear, to hold it gently rather than flee from it. He rested when his body demanded, and moved when the path was hidden, guided not by sight, but by trust. The forest, once a threat, became a teacher, patient and unyielding. One dawn, as soft gold spilled like liquid light, through the towering trees, Akira stepped out from the forest's embrace and into a clearing bathed in quiet radiance. The ancient trees, as if bowing in respect, opened wide before him, and the lingering fog lifted gently, like a silken curtain drawn aside to reveal a secret. There, rising beyond the horizon, stood the sacred mountain, vast and timeless, its peak crowned with shimmering snow that caught the first rays of the sun, glowing with an almost otherworldly light that seemed to pulse with silent power. The mountain's presence filled the air with a solemn stillness, a quiet that spoke of ancient wisdom and unyielding strength. Akira's breath caught, not from fear, but from a deep, unshakable peace. His body relaxed, and the tremor of doubt that had haunted his journey melted away. He realized then that he had not conquered the forest. He had become part of its endless rhythm, woven into its story, like the roots of the towering trees. In that moment, standing before the mountain's majestic silence, he felt not like a traveler arriving at a destination, but like one reborn, stronger, wiser, and profoundly changed. The forest did not block his way, it was the way. It stripped away what he did not need: fear, doubt, haste, and it left him with something stronger: patience, presence, purpose. He understood now, the best way out is always through. So if you find yourself standing before your own forest, a challenge too great, a fear too loud, a path too dark, remember this: you are not meant to walk around it, because what you seek is not beyond the forest. It is shaped within it. And when you step through with courage, you will not only reach your mountain, you will reach yourself.